Doug is going, Doug, how do you say it? Is it Chappelle?
It's Chapel.
Chapel.
Yeah.
Butchered that.
That's all right.
All right. So Chapel is going to be giving us his third speech from the Competent Communicator Manual entitled Ditching the Elliptical, How I Learned to Love to Run. And I'm very excited to hear this because I brought my gym bag for the first time in well over a year. Today we'll see if I actually get it, but I hate running too, so I want to hear what you've got to say. The speech, it's in the get to the point section of the manual, and he's going to work on engaging the audience and trying to limit use of notes.
But I still have notes.
But he still has them, yes.
All right. Yes, it says in the book to try and not use notes for this speech, but I didn't have enough time to practice and memorize it, so sorry. I spent the second half of 2013 just getting in better shape and losing a lot of weight, just making better life choices and that sort of thing. And one of the things that I did while doing that was using the good old elliptical machine to do cardio workouts so that I wouldn't have to run, essentially, because running sucks, as Brian is aware. But in 2014, I decided I'd try to become a better runner too, so that I could loosen my reliance on the elliptical machine, which I think is very boring to use. Unfortunately, I've never been much of a runner at all over any kind of distance. So, how could I overcome this very mentally and physically daunting challenge of being to where I could run enough to have a good effect on my fitness? Well, in the last 3 months, I've gone from dreading running altogether to, this last Saturday, enjoying my first 5K race. How did I do that? Well, I did it in 3 steps. First, I was put on the spot. Second, I was able to use technology to enhance my training, not being fusty and old-fashioned with the training. And third, and most recently, finding a sense of what I will call triumphant accomplishment, because that's what it seems like to me. So the first step, why would I take on the challenge of trying to run in the first place? Well, I was pretty much put on the spot to have to do it. Late last summer, my stepfather-in-law invited my wife and I to sign up for a Warrior Dash in July of 2014, so this actually hasn't even taken place yet. And we were invited to participate in that, and given that we had such a long lead time, we said, sure, we'll take on that kind of challenge, why not? And then we immediately realized, well, you have to be able to run, a few miles anyway, to do a Warrior Dash, and neither of us could do that. So we realized we're going to have to be pretty serious about training and learning how to be decent long-distance runners. Well, I've had a few other friends, and my brother too, who have been able to go from not being runners at all to being decent long-distance runners. And one program that I was aware of to get from that beginner to competence level is called Couch to 5K. And it's available in a lot of different versions. I'm sure some people have heard of it. So we decided, okay, we will do that. We'll start working on that after the new year. It'll be our New Year's resolution for 2014 to start running using this Couch to 5K program. Which brings me to my second step, using technology and taking advantage of that to be able to train. As I said, I did not want to be fusty about this and just rely on good old-fashioned willpower to get out there and run, so I downloaded a Couch to 5K app for my iPhone. as I said, there are dozens of free and ones that you have to pay for available. We just kind of picked one at random. But we downloaded that, got it on the iPhone, and it started in on the program. And it required running 3 days a week for 9 weeks. And it started out very easy, just running 1 minute at a time with 90-second breaks. And really, anyone can do that. So you'd start with this at this very basic level. Gradually, over the weeks, the program would add to the duration of how long you had to run without stopping, and reducing how many breaks you got and how long those breaks were, and it gradually built up endurance until at the end of the program, I was doing a 30-minute non-stop run, just running for 30 minutes, something that I would have never thought was possible for me to do even back when I was in high school and was on the track team. I was never a long-distance runner. All of a sudden, I was able to do it. And once I got to where I was running 30 minutes without stopping, I was in fact running 5 kilometers without having to stop. So I was running a 5K. That was pretty incredible. And looking back on it, I found that the two keys to having success with that program were, one, actually following the directions that the program gives you, acting as though it were a high school track coach who's going to yell at you if you slack off and don't keep running. And second, in a more long-term, from a more long-term point of view, avoiding taking any days off. As I said, it was 3 days a week, but avoiding any gaps so that the progress that we were making didn't erode and force us to go back to zero. So, should be done, right? Running that distance comfortably. Well, I wanted to see how it would do in the real world, which brings me to my third step, a triumphant accomplishment. In order to see how, and in order to test the progress that we had made, we signed up for the 5K run held in my little hometown of Parma just this past Saturday, March 15th. My goal was to actually run the 5K on the road in under a half hour, since that's what I've been doing on the treadmill, and maintaining that 6.2 mile per hour pace without having the treadmill there to sort of set the pace for me. That's the speed you have to run a 5K in a half hour. So we went out there, 10 a.m., out in the cold, gun went off, did the run, and lo and behold, I finished it in 28 minutes and 30 seconds. That's a 9-minute mile pace, or about 6.7 miles an hour. And it felt so good to come to the finish line and see that I was going to make my time, and that feeling of success, I would say it was almost addictive. It makes me feel, how much better could I get? How much longer could I do this? How much further could I run? And I had to realize, boy, I actually do enjoy doing this. In conclusion, I feel as though this were an infomercial. I'm obligated to say that if you tried this, your results may vary. It's worked out very well for me. I've alluded to that my wife's been doing this too. It's been a bit more of a struggle for her. You may, Brian, for example, may go try this and it's just not going to work out. And I don't know. I'm saying this is what, I mean, not to discourage you, but I'm saying this is what's worked for me and what I've had success with. But again, the 3 steps that worked for me: number 1, being put on the spot, being sort of arm twisted into having to learn how to run, using modern technology to facilitate that training, and then third, actually, well, as I said, actually having a triumphant accomplishment, actually going out there and doing it and meeting your goals and feeling the sense of self-actualization that comes from that. So that's what I did. I will turn it back over to Mr. Toastmaster.